But anyway, sus, bro.
As I said earlier, so I'm trying out this laptop thing, innit? Because usually Aladdin gets onto me saying that man's using my phone and is distracting and stuff. If I done this, yeah, if I'm like this and we're having a conversation, let me do this. If I'm on the phone like this and I'm looking for like notes I made, does that bother you?
No.
That's what I was trying to tell you, bro. Huh?
How do they know you're looking for notes? You didn't say that in advance.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I do a disclaimer, so why didn't you have a laptop, bro? Bro, a whole laptop, you know. Anyway, look, I've been harassing you for like what, the last 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 months even to try to get you back on. You've been a bit of an arsehole to come back.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Busy, man. Busy.
But we're here now. But that's mainly because so when we done the first episode on this podcast, yeah, like I made a mistake. I had to listen, it was early days, bro. We were learning.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's why mistakes are important, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you a fan of mistakes?
Oh, I love mistakes. I'm where I am today because of mistakes.
There we go. So obviously it wasn't intentional, but I think when people intentionally make mistakes and kind of like sabotage themselves on purpose, I think that's a little bit different. But I think unintentional mistakes are full of learning, and as long as you don't make the same mistake, what is it, 2 or 3 times? How many times?
I think it's only twice.
Yeah. I'd rather just make it once. I think twice, definitely twice is the limit. But yeah, man, we made some changes since. So we got a whole new question for the introductions and whatnot.
Okay.
So what's the one thing that people should know about you?
Oof,
and there's another one. Should I break them down into 2 parts or?
Nah, we'll do it one at a time.
All right, let's do one at a time. Yeah.
So the first one is what's the one
thing that people should know about you?
Oh, what's the one thing people should know about me? I'm short-tempered.
You?
Yeah. Literally, I'm very short-tempered, but I'm very good at controlling it. So I get irritated so quickly, but you never know.
You know that? I didn't even know this until now.
Yeah, I know. Like, I get irritated by the smallest of things, but you just never know because I'm just very, very good at like, all right, fine, you know what? You've irritated me, but fuck off. Kind of, am I allowed to swear? Sorry. Yeah, like you've irritated me, but that's it. I'm done with you. Like, but I want like, hey, I'm done with you kind of thing. I'm not going to ever speak to you, but I'm irritated and I need my space and then that's it. But yeah, I get irritated so quickly. Smallest of things can irritate me.
I feel like maybe not with the smallest things, but like with the bigger things, yeah. I feel like sometimes your face shows it.
Yeah, if like, so when the small things irritate me, like you won't know, but if you've irritated me consecutively, like on like back and forth, or you've done something that's really annoyed me, I try my best to not, I won't vocally tell you, I won't come out my mouth and be like, oh yeah, you think, but my body language will give it up. I've tried years and years to work on it and say, you know the old me, like, oh, it's still me, like, are you good, Kenny? No, I'm fine. But my whole face is telling you I'm gonna bang you in your jaw. My whole face is telling you something completely different, but I'm gonna tell you I'm fine. But yeah.
Nah, the whole fine thing. You know what, yeah? This is the one thing that still bothers me in society to this day, yeah? And I'm not saying I want to change it, it's just, I don't know how I feel about it 100%. Like, you know when like people ask people like, how you doing? And people say that I'm good and all of that stuff, like I just find it so, would I say meaningless? I just find it so like what's the point? Like if I counted how many times I could have saved time not having that conversation, like I think in addition it would be like number of days I could have saved by not answering that question or even asking that question. Yeah. So what's the point of even asking if people are just gonna lie anyways?
I mean, sometimes people don't like. If I'm asking you how you're doing, I'm generally asking. Whether you want to lie and give me, tell me a lie, that's your prerogative. You know where I'm coming from. That's you and your own. But I'm asking for because I generally want to know how you're doing. I feel like for me, it's like before I get into anything else or anything, it's just like always make sure people are good kind of thing is a way of like checking in on people, because to me sometimes I'm very direct, it's very boom 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 boom, it's all business, it's all like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, or nah, this needs to be done, this needs to be that. Sometimes it's like I use that time as a way to like, you know what, hey, how you doing? If you're like, you know what, I'm not really feeling it today, in my head it's like, you know what, this isn't that type of conversation. Let me use this time to check on people, because sometimes I generally do care for people, do you know where I'm coming from? So it's like, yeah, this ain't that type of conversation, but it's like, you know what do you need help with? I'm a boy you. I'm gonna tell you, yeah, that's a bit mad, but I'm gonna still be there for you. If you get where I'm coming from. So it may be meaningless to your response, may be meaningless, and you may want to give me a meaningless response, but I'm not gonna know that. And to an extent, I don't really care, because for me, it's my reason for asking you isn't meaningless. So yeah.
But then what if from tomorrow, you asked every single person, and every single person you ask needs support or they need something? How would you feel about that?
I mean, I hear it, but I'm one person, so I can support where and when I can.
So like in a way, so then I'm just trying to look at on the bright side of things, So in a weird way, then it's kind of good that not everyone would say that they're bad.
I mean, it's kind of good, but it's like, just because I can't help you doesn't mean if you told me, you know what, I need this or I'm struggling with this, that I may not know someone that can. But I'm very, very selfish with my time. So, and it's taken me a few years to get there, but it's like, if I can help you and I feel like you're not going to waste my time and there's a value that's going to come for it to you, then I'm going to give it. Yeah. But if I can't, like, because I just don't have the time and there's other stuff going on in my life, I'm still going to support you, but I may give it to someone who can in a better capacity than I can, if you get where I'm coming from. But
No, I fully get you, man. And which kind of leads on nicely to the next question, which is part of the introduction as well. How do you get your feeling of importance?
How do I get my feeling of importance?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a sick question, isn't it?
That's a really good question. Whoa. Shit, I should have prepared. How do I get my feeling of importance?
And like, if you need a moment to think about it properly, that's cool. I don't want to.
How do I get my feeling of importance? This is really interesting.
Because you know what? I'm starting to address this thing of, like, sometimes on a podcast there's like a pressure of there's a camera rolling. You got an audio.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm good. Trust me. I've grown up with cameras, so yeah.
I know you have. I know you have.
I'd say for me it's involvement. Yeah, I think growing up has always been involvement. So my feeling important is if you involve me even in the slightest way. So sometimes some people don't like to involve me because my involvement comes into, I then end up being the leader or the natural leader. So, but for me, just like, if I can have some sort of involvement, whether it's, hey, what's your opinion on this? Or, you know what, you know this better, how can we do this better? That level of involvement is enough for me. And you do feel slightly important. So I feel like involvement is a big one for me in terms of how I'd get that feeling of importance in terms of, involvement. Yeah,
definitely. And obviously I know that that you're a role model at this point, because it's been an ongoing long conversation, but you're definitely a role model, and I feel like you inspire a lot of people to do a lot of different things. And you've been there for people in different ways as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's another quality of what makes someone a role model. But have you explored in depth, like, what makes a role model? Why people are so drawn to you as a role model?
No, if I'm being honest, I've never really explored it. I've always come to the conclusion that I'm just honest. Like, I'm brutally honest. And sometimes I know, like, that's what I always say to people. A lot of people ask me, like, what's your advice or what's your thing? And before I give it, I always say, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want the truth? Because most of the time, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm gonna be real with you. And the only reason why I can do that is because I've had it tough. Do you know where I'm coming from? When I was like that kid that was doing a madness, like, I was having people telling me, bro, you're dumb. And I'm looking at you like, who are you chatting to? Like, I'm ready to scrap. But it's like, everyone's always told me, like, what are you doing, kind of thing. So now it's like, I'm in that position where it's like, I've done well for myself, I'm doing things. It's like, yeah, when other people, I feel like I can't beat around the bush. So, like, some people have like a middle ground. It's like, it's either I don't care or I do care. Yeah. So it's either I don't say nothing or I'm gonna tell you the full length of what it is. I can't be in the middle and just bing, you're coming from.
So is that like more like, so if I was to translate that into like other things in life in general, is that more to do with like you either fully involved in something or you're not? So it's like you don't give half-hearted involvement. So you have I can't give half-hearted. Yeah.
I don't know why. Sometimes I try it. I've always tried to do the half-hearted thing and be like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it just doesn't work with me, man. It just doesn't sit well with my spirit. I don't know why.
I can resonate with that.
It just
That's
doesn't.
why I said
It just doesn't sit well with me. So either I step out or I fully step in, kind of thing. So yeah, and I think that's one thing where it's like some people can see me as a role model, because I think with me, when I even decide, you know what, I'm gonna help someone, or I'm gonna give advice, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna support in any capacity, way, shape, or form, I always got to come to some sort of conclusion, or that it's like, all right, cool, I can't do this in and out, because if me doing 50-50 may be more detrimental to you. So I'm either saying, you know what, big man or my girl, I can't. Like, I just don't have the capacity, and the reason why I can't is because I don't want to make things worse.
Yeah.
Or look, I can, but for me to do so, it needs this level of commitment from me and also from you. Do you get where I'm coming from? So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's not always black and white, but I guess in some case scenarios, like being half-heartedly involved or being there for someone else can be worse than not being involved at all. But I guess it's case by case scenario, isn't it?
It depends on every individual's different, if you know where I'm coming from. So yeah,
definitely. So before we get into the conversation of victim mentality, I know that's one of the things I was going to address today. I think that's going to be an interesting conversation as well. But Aladdin keeps saying he thinks that there's going to be a war between men and women in the near future. But I was telling him that the war's already started, which is, it's not necessarily like a physical war, but it's something that's going on, you know, within the society. There's a lot of like man versus kind of woman beef. I don't know if you want to talk about this or even explore how you feel when it comes to that, or if you
I feel like I think this whole men versus women thing, I think this has been going on for years, man. This has been going on since I was in school.
Yeah.
Like,
you think so?
Yeah, this has been going on. What? This has been going on since I was in school.
That's wild. I only become aware of it in the last
obviously to the capacity and the extent it is now is a whole lot different. Like when I was in school, it was more like, nah, man, you girls don't know or understand anything. Or you girls, like, you know, like when we were in school, like I went to an all boys school, so it was like we were just on scrapping, we were just on fighting, and I was one of the top instigators. Like I would fight any. Listen, I was. If you wanted to be in trouble, stay with me for a day. that was it. But it's like, then we had a group of girls that would also try and emulate that and think, yeah, because that's how they could get close to us, and by being, and we were like, nah, like, man, you're not on it, step back, fall back kind of thing. And that, there's always been that, you know what, that beef in terms of like, but girls do this, men don't do this, men are this, men are that. Like, I think for me, it all started with, I remember being in year 9, and then there was this whole men are trash thing.
Oh yeah.
So
that
you know where I'm
was
coming from? That started for me in school. So it was like, everywhere I'm going, it's like men are trash, men are trash, men are trash. I was like, rotted. So I was like, all right, cool. So that, from early, like, it's always like men versus women. It's always been like that. Even when I'm in school, like, it's like if I go approach someone now, like, what? Are you one of them trash boys from Southeast or from East? I'm thinking, allow it. You don't even know me. You know where I'm coming from. So that's always been there. The extent that it is now, it's just like the volume is different. You've got so many different conversations and so many people that are just saying, you know what? Yeah, like, bruv, women are dead. Like, men are shit. And it's just like, I don't know about the war in terms of like physical. I don't think there'll ever be a physical war, because like my point, this is what I personally believe, like a lot of people can talk and not everyone can back it up. If you know where I'm coming from. Not to say women can talk, or think a lot of men can talk and can't back it up. I've seen it. Do you know where I'm coming from? So I feel a lot of people can talk, but we're in a generation where talking is the next thing. Do you know where I'm coming from? You're in a whole like generation where it's like you got Twitter fingers, you got everyone is behind the screen. You know where I'm coming from? Like if a lot of stuff that I said behind the screen, you told them, all right, cool, we're here, let's have that conversation. You get to having difficult conversations with people and people will fold. Do you know where I'm coming from? So it's a thing where I don't think there'll ever be a physical war, but we're definitely at war with each other. Like there's so many podcasts. I saw something recently. I shouldn't be on TikTok, but I can't lie, I've been hooked recently. I remember I was laughing at you a couple during lockdown.
The tables have turned, bro.
I'm not as bad as you, big man. You were in the gym, bro,
on
TikTok.
I've been on TikTok for
But
time,
I'm saying,
bro.
I'm not as bad as you. You were mad on TikTok, bro. You were lost in the sauce.
Well, for sure. Listen, I told you, bro, I'm fully committed, bro. So,
but yeah, I saw
something
on TikTok, and I think it was like some girl was in a club, she's dancing, and then she just goes to the camera and then she says something about what is it? what was it? What's it? Men used to go to war, but now they're in the clubs doing this. But you know what? That's not the part that got me. The part that got me was someone remixed it. So I watched the remix version. So that bit's come up, and then a guy remixes it and goes, women used to cry about their nudes. Now it's $3.99, and that took me out.
You know what? Even deep that, you know.
And that took me out. And I'm thinking, raw. I remember being in school thinking, raw. If you had, that's like murder. Like, you know, if you could think if you leaked a girl's nudes or something like that, or something as explicit as that back in school or back then, bro, like the community was onto you. Like you were gonna get it. The men, for guys, would be like, rah, you got that, swear down. But the female community, they were gonna murder you, big man. That's treason as it is, bruv. Do you know where I'm coming from? So now it's just like, nah, brother, hold that. Get me. Add a little tip, little 10%. So I shouldn't be talking like this.
No.
But it's true, though. That's what I think. And then I was just looking at that, just thinking, rah, man, this cycle of men versus women's never gonna end.
Yeah, I think I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm a believer of things have to get worse before they get better. And I think we're definitely starting to hit. I think with the social media and the amount of exposure that's there. But you know what? Also, in a weird way, I think it's really good to have those conversations. I think there's more conversations happening around these topics.
But the thing is, I'm all good for conversations, but sometimes we have a lot of meaningless conversations. So there's a lot of podcasts out there and a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's quite meaningless in terms of like, because you can there's a few podcasts where it's like they're telling like the younger generation or my generation of girls like, look, you think you know what guys want, but that's not what we want. But then there's also a conversation where a lot of guys, they don't really know what they want. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, I'm one of few, like, if anything, I'm the odd anomaly. That's like, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to work towards a thing. You're not meant to, and it's not by force to have it. Like, just because I have it or I understand it, it's not my fault. Where I'm coming from. Everyone's figuring things out in their own journey, but it's like there's so much pressure on both genders in terms of like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, it's like, what the hell kind of thing. Like, do things your own thing. Just like, don't put that pressure on anyone. But it's like, in terms of like, sometimes you have conversations and people just don't want to hear it. How many times have you ever been in a position where it's like, you can tell someone something as many times, show them, put it in front of them, point blank, everything. If they don't want to hear it, they don't want to hear it.
Do you know what? I think there's a skill in picking battles. So that's how I like to refer to it. It's like, you just have to pick your battle. Well, I pick my battles. I think in the past I used to be open to having conversation with everyone.
No, I can't do that.
Where I realized like sometimes some battles are just like, some battles I've not even started. I can't even start a battle, so I can't even have the conversation. And I know maybe like the metaphor for battle is not the best metaphor, but
conflict maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like some conversations are not worth the effort. So I'm not into having conversation with everyone anymore like I used to be. However, though, if I feel like I can have a conversation with a person and potentially, it's not about me changing their mind or it's not about them changing my mind, but if we can talk about how we perceive things in our own individual way and go, look, you know what, it's actually cool. I like how you see things. Can I take a little bit of that? Or they might do the same thing with me. They might be, you know what, you see things in a different way. I'm going to take a little bit of that too. And I think that's a more productive conversation of you know, like of learning and just talking about things rather than just saying, oh, you're wrong, or this is what I believe and that's it. I think that kind of like eliminates the process of learning when people kind of go like, this is it. I just believe this one thing and nothing else anymore. I think that makes a big difference. But listen, let's dive into victim mentality. Yeah, what does it mean to you in first place? And I've got a couple of things I wanted to ask you on that as well.
For victim mentality, I think it's a thing where, I think for me it's just about how everything that happens in your life, you are somewhat a victim. It's everyone else's fault, something else's fault but yours. There's no responsibility. There's no accountability. That's what I feel victim mentality is. And it's like, I say victim mentality is more like in terms of like, that's how we'd say it in reference to the males. And for me, like a couple of the guys that I know, when it comes to references females, they just call them damsels in distress, which is a bit wild.
That is wild, yeah.
But it's in terms of like, because when someone's in distress, it's like you always need like, which is like a damsel in distress. It's like you need someone else to come and save you out of there. Like the whole old school Disney, like every Disney princess has been a damsel in distress. You take Shrek from Fiona. You take what's her name, Rapunzel. You take Is it Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. Yeah. They've always been in some sort of distress, and there's always been someone else to come and help them out of that. And that's where that comes from in terms of like, no, get yourself out of it kind of thing. And it's just like having that victim mentality where it's like the whole world is just, I think, no, it's like take some sort of responsibility and some sort of accountability that is like, you know what, this isn't going in my favor, but I still have a choice and I still have a way to kind of shift things. Something no one else is not just, I'm not just going to sit here and all of a sudden life changes kind of thing. So yeah, that's what victim mentality is kind of thing.
Have you heard of something called the drama triangle?
The drama triangle? No.
So it's been established by some guy called Stephen Cartman, or sometimes it's called a Cartman triangle as well, in the 1960s. But long story short, it's like a social sort of triangle where it describes social situations in a way of having rescuer, victim, and a perpetrator. So, and basically what it kind of says within that model, it says that usually within social situations or any like life situations, people will always act out one of these roles. So someone will be rescuing the victim, or someone will be the perpetrator while someone's the victim.
Okay, I think I've seen that.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting because like, I'm not saying that I agree with this model completely, but I've seen people become those things and become multiple things. Sometimes it might be a victim, next day they might become the rescuer, sometimes it might be the perpetrator, and it's almost like this constant sort of transition into different modes.
Yeah, I think in our lifetime, however long that is for some of us, we're going to be one of the three in any given scenario. But the mentality is what you do with that. Do you get where I'm coming from? There's going to be a time in our life where we're all going to be victims. If anyone says to you they've never been a victim in anything, they chat shit. Do you know where I'm coming from? There's going to be a time in our life where we're all going to be victims. The difference in terms of having that victim mentality is staying a victim. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's, all right, cool, I'm here now, but brother, this is not what I'm trying to be like, so I need to change that. A lot of people, we hit a victim and we stay that. Some people hit perpetrator and they stay that. Some people hit rescuer and they stay that. I'm not trying to rescue every Tom, Dick and Harry. Or if I say in like Keela, Shirley or Anne. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, do you get what I'm not trying to...
Where did that come from?
I'm not trying... I know that just came from the top, but I'm not trying to do that. Do you know where I'm coming from? And I just feel like it's the mentality of how you decide, all right, cool, this scenario, this situation is not what I want it to be. And yeah, rightfully so, it may not be I may not have any control of what's happened to it or how I've got here, but I have control of how I get out and how I respond. That's the responsibility and taking accountability of you to have some sort of control.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you know what though? You know what fascinates me the most about victim mentality? So 100%, I think I've definitely had a victim mentality mindset sometime in the past. I don't have it anymore. Maybe sometimes maybe autopilot sometimes might kick in, but usually like I'm really good at taking accountability, responsibility for my actions. So for instance, like the whole, I'm not going to get into the details, but the whole like driving thing, not being able to drive. I could have easily said, is this fault or that fault? But actually I just find, as a man, I'm taking full accountability for responsibility for my actions and I'm going to deal with it. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's, I could have easily fell into the victim mentality thing. And the thing I wanted to say around that was, is that for some people it might be beneficial to be a victim in some situations, or they might get something from it. And I think that's where people fall into it. And sorry, and just another point I wanted to add to that as well is there's so many case studies in the world where people actually show that it's possible to come out of the victim mentality. And I'm not even talking about us regular people. Let me clarify something. We're not regular people as well either. Actually, let me clarify that first. But, just for a standard everyday person who isn't necessarily famous or, is a celebrity or whatever, there's so many people out there that's proven that we don't have to be victims and we can overcome the circumstances. And until this day, people will look at them and be like, oh, it must have been something else.
My point exactly. So my thing, like I had my late friend that passed, he had a victim mentality growing up because it was weird. A lot of my friendship groups is like, I started off not liking them, we were beefing, and all of a sudden we're best friends. Weird. But like late one that passed, me, so rest in peace, he had a victim mentality when he first started off. No one liked the kid. Do you know where I'm coming from? Nobody liked the kid. Like, everybody was onto him. I used to come out and just like, raw. I'm hearing Donny's name again and again and again. Everyone's either ducking him down or I'm thinking, raw, what's my man on? I'm thinking, whoa, like he's always in some sort of palaver. And then I got to know the kid and I was like, right, you're proper soft out here, like, yo. And he was like that. And sometimes I feel like everyone's like, oh, everyone says, you know what, but it was because of you kind of did. And I said, no. I just told him, you don't have to accept it. That's all I did. I kept telling, because the difference with me was people tried the same thing people tried with him, they tried with me. And I just didn't accept it. When I went to school, I said, no, it's not running. Luckily for me, I was a bit different in terms of like my charisma and how I am as a person in terms of like my personality. But he had the same personality, but because of the victim mentality and how much he always saw himself as a victim, it never came out. So when the personality started to come out now, people didn't know how to react to it. People didn't know how to control it. They're always trying to find some sort of excuse, or, oh, they said, oh yeah, it's because he went bin, he thinks he's hard. No. Or because he did the 9 months here, so no. It's because he's finally understanding that, no, I don't have to be what you lot are trying to tell me that I am. And if you lot try it, it's long.
Yeah.
And then guys couldn't deal with that change. A lot of people can't deal with change when you step out of that whole victim mentality. Yeah. It's always some sort of something else, or nah, da-da-da-da. No, it's like, I've decided that, you know what, I'm not gonna be a victim anymore, and you're not gonna have fun with me being a victim. If I don't like what you're trying to tell me, I don't like it, and I'm not gonna do it.
Do you know what that sounds like? Yeah, and it's so powerful. Yeah, it sounds like a transition between being a victim to becoming a target. So saying I'm not a victim, I'm a target. Because a target, sometimes people might try, not just people, life situations might try to throw something at them, but they'll go, you know what, I'm above this. Like, I've got a level of resilience where I'm just a target, but you're not going to victimize me. I'm going to overcome that. Which leads me on to the next point as well, yeah? So see with the resilience thing, do you think that resilience is the antidote to being in a victim mentality?
To an extent. Say to an extent, because sometimes you can be as resilient all you want, and if you don't kind of decide, you know what, I'm stepping out of this, you can be resilient till you die.
But then isn't resilience necessary to step out of it? So I get what you're saying. So you still have to, well, the person will still have to make the decision and the choice to step out of it. But then for them to be able to do so, did you need to build a resilience for it? Not
really. Some people they need resilience to continue.
That's a good point.
Yeah, some people need that resilience to continue, but some people from jump, they don't need the resilience to step out. They will tell you no. What a lot of people may need is the resilience to continue, because how many times can people say no? Do you know where I'm coming from? So they're going to need that resilience to continue. Do you know what I'm coming? They're going to need that resilience to say no. You're going to try again? No. You're not going to try again? You're going to no. Some people actually find it easy to from the first time. It's like, no, I'm stepping out of this. Yeah. But it's the resilience to continue stepping out of it every given situation, whether it's with people, whatever life throws at you. Do you know where I'm coming from? Sometimes life can throw this at you, throw that at you, and you need the resilience for that. Yeah. You don't necessarily need the resilience to step out of it. So yeah.
That's power. I didn't even think about it like that. So initially someone can make the choice, but then they need the resilience to continue.
They need the resilience to continue to stick to that.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. I like that. What do you think is the best way to actively build resilience? So when I say actively, I'm saying that on purpose, because I feel like sometimes obviously life will throw random stuff at us. And I feel like sometimes I don't like to kind of wait and just be like, you know what, I'm going to wait till something crazy happens and I have to build resilience around it. How can I actively build resilience without having to wait for life situations to come to me?
Go to the gym. I've said it, like, not just because I'm a gym person or I live in the gym, as most people say, but go to the damn gym. If it's not gym, find a sport, find something and stick at it. Like, because I feel like that's the only way you can build resilience without having life dash something, because you're actively doing it. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like it's weird how we live in a whole generation where it's like everything's bought now, innit? So like guys can buy Nyash, or sorry, I said guys, girls can buy Nyash.
Guys can buy Nyash.
No, but guys can buy Nyash as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how they're moving. Yeah. But you get me, like everyone's buying this, buying that, some sort of like enhancement. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like everything can be bought now. Do you know where I'm coming from? Which is scary. It just means like how much loyalty is there out there in our generation? Which is that leads on to a whole nother thing.
Listen, But, I'm looking at how many genders we got, by the way. Carry on.
Mad thing. But yeah, it's in terms of like what is it? It's like, yeah, I feel like, so I lost track now, but I feel, that gym is the one thing where it's like, you have to kind of stick at. If you don't stick at it, then you'll never build that level of resilience. Do you know where I'm coming from?
Do you know what I remembered, and I don't know why I stopped doing that. Well, I know why I stopped doing it. But a long time ago, when I used to like run a lot of personal development sessions, like maybe 5-6 years ago in my early youth worker days, I used to do this exercise with young people, where I would get them to go up in a pull-up bar, and basically just, like just dead hands.
Oh, dead hands, yeah.
But hold on to dead hands. But I would get them all on at the same time, because we used to have that old like rack.
Yeah, the old rack thing. Yeah, I remember
so
that.
I would get all of them on at the same time. And then basically, I know there's like a physical muscle difference. Some people might hold on for longer, but I used to compare it to life and how resilience works. So like just saying that, look, whoever's going to hold on for longest is the most resilient, which is obviously not necessarily true because mental resilience is different.
Yeah.
But then we'll kind of compare it as a metaphor to, if they do that every single day, within a month, they'll be able to hold on for longer. And I was just comparing it to like, sometimes with mental resilience, it's also about exercising it all the time. So it's how we think about situations and how we perceive them and how we can perceive them better. And for me as well, as personally, like as when I start practicing the mental resilience over time, it became stronger and stronger and stronger.
It's always going to become stronger. It's like there's so many books out there. You got so many different little anecdotes and stuff that help you get that engraved into your system. You got the whole 10,000 hour rule. That's all part of resilience. You got the mind over body. That's all part of resilience. Do you get where I'm coming from? But I always say, if you want to do something, you want to get better at something, whether it's the mind over body or the 10,000 hour rule, you have to actively engage in what you want to do or what you want to get better at. So, and when I say actively engage, I mean like, okay, I need to go gym 3 times this week. If you don't go to the gym 3 times this week, then you tell yourself that was a shit week. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's like you tell yourself that was a shit week because that's what you want to get better at. It's no one's told you to go and do this or do that. That's what you want to get better at. You want to actively build that. That's why I say gym is the best thing, because I feel like for me, gym is, I remember when I first started gym, like, what was it? I went gym because of 2 reasons. Yeah, which is weird, but I went gym for gyal.
I knew I was going to say that.
I'll be so real. I went gym for gyal. That's the first reason.
Wait, let me just clarify that. I know in a relationship now, so it's not relevant.
Yeah.
That was ages ago. Yeah. But I want to clarify. When you say you went there for girls, did you go there to get girls or did you go there to look good to get girls?
Big man, I went there for both. I'm going to keep it 100. Big man, I went there for both. Because that wasn't the first reason actually, but it dominated the first reason. The first reason I went was because I was tired of being called Marga. I was so tired of it. Like, you know, that whole victim mentality. Every time I went to any situation, being called Marga was my kryptonite. So I could argue. I had a lot of chat. The minute one person called me Marga, shut. That was it. I couldn't. My body or my spirit couldn't allow me to come with a comeback, because they say Marga, automatically I'm looking at my arms, I'm looking at my legs, I'm thinking, rah. Yeah, I just felt shut down. So I said, nah, I can't be Marga no more. So in my head, that's what I went. Then I got to the gym now and I'm seeing this. I said, whoa, this is a beautiful place. Do you get what I'm coming from? I said, whoa, this is a beautiful place. But then, like, all of a sudden, that it went kind of thing, and that whole me wanting to go to gym for girls kind of died down, and it became a thing where it was like, I had to stick at it. I remember when I first started going gym, I asked all my boys, I said, you lot come, because I didn't want to do it on my own. I did not want to do it on my own. I couldn't do it on my own. I said, you lot come with me, man. Look. I said, look, I'll even pay. Like, I'll find a way to pattern us here for free. I'll do anything. Just come with me. The man them said no. The man them were on board. The man them said yeah. And there was one summer. Remember, you know, like in school, you get like back then you get summer. Like there's no responsibilities, nothing.
Yeah, 2 months.
The minute July hits, you're free, bro. That whole summer, the man them were going going lakeside, going this, going that. I was in the gym, and that 2 month period of me being in the gym changed my life.
Yeah,
to the point where it's like I can't go a day without gym or a week without gym. Like it's a part of me now, to the point where it's like, get me, I'm looking all, you get me? But it's a thing where it's like, that resilience of me going to the gym and getting better is I've adopted that same mentality with everything that I do. If I say I'm going to set out for something, I need to get it done.
But it's not just physical, it's mental as well.
It's not physical, it's mental, because like gym is tough. Don't get me, don't ever let, if anyone says to you, oh yeah, like you got loads of PTs, like you get a couple people who tell you, oh yeah, we can sort you out in a couple months or so, you try shit. Yeah, it's tough. Like that first week's going to break you. Especially if your PT knows what he's doing. Yeah, no matter how much he eases you into it, if you're not used to it, your body's gonna say, big man, slow down, settle. Did you get where I'm coming from? Or like, my girl, what you doing? I hear you're trying to get the nyash and that, but your legs can't compete with this right now. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, slow it down. Your body will tell you that. It will make you do anything. Why do you think it's called DOMS? Delayed onset. It's delayed. So it's
I thought he was talking about something else.
Oh, look at this guy, bro. Delayed onset muscle soreness. Yeah. That's why it's there for a reason.
As you know what, I got to the point I don't even like feel no soreness no more, bro.
Nah, there's that element. I don't know about that one though, but there's that element.
Just bang gym, bro.
But it's like that is there as a way to say, look, man, take it easy, slow it down, but you got to push through that. That's where the mental bit comes through. No matter how tired, you got to push through that. Then all of a sudden, your body's gonna say, you know what? All right, cool. Let me shut up and let me just firm it. And then you firm it, you get better. You lift heavier, you start doing stuff. I always say, anyone that's trying to, get sort of mental resilience or actively get resilient, go to the gym, man.
Yeah, definitely. But what do you think is stronger, the body or the mind?
Oh, definitely the mind.
You think so?
The mind is a lot stronger.
Bro, but like sometimes, do you know what it is?
Bro, I'm telling you, no, listen, let me tell you.
I had times when my body would tell my mind to shut the fuck up, bro.
No, trust me, it's not your body, it's your mind. I'm telling you, the mind is stronger. Let me tell you that. I'm just going to use my police chases as an example. Bro, you see when I was younger and I'm getting down by feds, big man, my legs are shaking.
I think that's just adrenaline, bro.
No, it's not adrenaline. It's my mind. Because I automatically think, if my mum comes and picks me up from this cell again, it's a long day. So I have to run. That's my mind. The mind is stronger. Once I get that thought in me,
I think it's adrenaline. Do you know what it is? And there's
adrenaline. Adrenaline does help to it. But all adrenaline does is like, if you're someone that's naturally quick, adrenaline is just going to amplify that. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, if you're someone that's slow, but on a normal day, you'd be struggling, adrenaline is just gonna amplify that. The mind is what's telling you, I need to do anything and everything so these men don't catch me. That's the mind. Do you get where I'm coming from? You're thinking of all sorts whilst you're running. You're thinking of tactics. So if they come through this block, I'm gonna be in that block. That's the mind. Do you get where I'm coming from? You're trying to run away for everything. So I say the mind is definitely stronger, man.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I feel like I'd love to be in a space where I'm always like on adrenaline, bro. Because I'm just thinking like nothing, like that must be an amazing feeling.
No, definitely. I remember
that must be incredible.
I remember my first ever time getting in trouble, and I got my first ever police chase, and the only thing that came through my mind, was like, I think that's the first time I've ever experienced that level of adrenaline.
Man actually said the first ever police chase. The first ever.
Listen, this was years ago, man. This was years ago. And I remember like that feeling. I got home and that's my first time ever experiencing that level of adrenaline. Do you know what I did? Do you know what I said to myself? I said, I need to feel this every day. It's so bad.
Bro, it's true.
I said, I need to feel this every day.
It's only
whatever
like 5
that was,
minutes.
I need to get. However, I sat there and I said, that buzz. I said, I need to feel this every day.
Bro, because listen, it's no, honestly, bro, listen, it gives such a boost, physically, mentally.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. I said, rah, is this what this does? Is this what having these men, until obviously it got worse and worse. Then sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is long. But nah, my first time ever getting that in trouble and getting police chase me, I sat there and I said, I need to feel this every day.
Hey, our bodies are incredible, man.
Yeah, man.
Our bodies are so incredible. Listen, growth. Let's touch on growth. Yeah, I feel like it's obviously I spoke to you before about this, and I feel like growth is such a vague or such a general thing, and it can mean a lot of different things. I guess like my first question for you is obviously what does it mean to you, and then does growth happen naturally, or is it choice? Is growth a choice, or does it just automatically happen as you go?
Okay, what does growth mean to me? I mean, for me, it's like growth is just not being in the same position as you were. Yeah. whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually.
So you know, like to question things in general.
Go on.
Yeah. So if I move to another space in the room, is that growth?
No, but that's not what I mean in that essence. So
No, I know what you mean. So like same position as in like same, let's say mind state or
if you're not in the same
yeah.
mind state, say if it's cool, like that's for me that is growth. Like,
but then if the mind state changes, right? So this is what I'm trying to clarify. You're talking about positive growth, because sometimes growth can be negative as well, right?
Yes, what I'm saying. Like that, it is that growth. Whether it's positive or negative, it's still growth. But it's understanding that it's negative. Do you get where I'm coming from? A lot of people just say growth is growth. Growth is not just growth. Yeah, there's a positive and there's a negative, and both have different implications to us. Something we may not see now, something we may see later. That's what I'm. That's what I'm. Like whether it's a negative piece of growth, that you're not in the same mind state. Do you know where I'm coming from? So some people you can the same way. Like I think about it, you got a plant, yeah. Like it grows up, but it also grows down. Do you know where I'm coming from? Yeah, everyone just sees the up, but it also grows down. And if downstairs isn't looked after, it's still a negative thing. Do you know where I'm coming from? So it works both ways. But like understanding that there's a positive and there's a negative growth. So for me, just not being in that same space. And the second question of what was it again?
So yeah, does it happen naturally or is it choice?
I think it depends on the individual. Some can happen naturally, and some, once you become aware of it, you can then choose to keep on growing or to keep on like developing. Like my growth, I'd say it happened naturally in terms of like things that I would do or stuff for certain things that happened in my life. Like those weren't my choice for those things to happen. So once those things happened to me, it kind of, it done something where it's like all of that stuff was just no longer irrelevant. That's not my choice. Do you know where I'm coming from? That life choice, I did not force. If I had a choice for that not to happen, I'd always say, don't let that happen. Yeah. But if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today, if you know where I'm coming from. So obviously once that natural element has happened, or whatever, that bit has happened, the choice of me now continuing to grow within that direction or grow within that path is my choice. Do you know where I'm coming from? Because some people can have that, they can see it and they say, no, I'm not trying to go there. That's long. Whether it's a positive, and then they'll grow the other way. Do you know where I'm coming from? It's like the same way, like got two different ends of the stick. So I think it all depends, I think, on each individual. But there is all whoever the individual is, there's an element of choice within their growth.
Yeah, I relate to that. Do you know what it is? Yeah, the reason I asked that is because I feel like I've been trying to figure it out for a while. Like I've been trying to figure out, in terms of just navigating life in general, it's like at what point is it the environment and at what point is it the choices that we make? And I think I got to the point where I made a conclusion that it's like the same way if you play the blackjack game, and you can have two players that got the same hand, but they'll just play it differently, and that's the choices that we make. And
so to answer your question or touch up on that in terms of what you said, is like, is it the environment or is it the thing? I've been in an environment with growth, yeah, whereas like it's beautiful. Like I could grow so well in this environment, but I chose not to. Do you know where I'm coming from? And then there was times where it's like growth. A lot of people going back to the whole natural thing. Pardon me. Sometimes people think it's okay. I used to be that guy. I just say, you know what? I'm just gonna sit and whatever happened will happen, innit? You know where I'm coming from? If it's meant to happen, it will happen. Bruv, I got rid of that in seconds. I was waiting for time. Do you know where I'm coming from? I was waiting for time. Do you know where I'm coming from? So
I was like, it's not coming, bro.
Yeah, so I actively went and got it. Do you know where I'm coming from? And then that's when I was able to see I was in a space where the growth was abundant. But I had to actively go and get it. That was my choice, to actively go and get it. Otherwise, I could have sat and just waited, or as much as long as it would come. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So you have to actively go and pursue it. Do you get where I'm coming from? And that's where you reach different levels of growth, because there's levels to everything. You know where I'm coming from? Some people like their growth is who was it? His name? He said it recently. Oh, I keep watching it. A lot of motivational stuff. He said it recently. Oh, what's
David
that?
Goggins?
No. He plays Medea. What's his name? Oh, please tell me you've watched Medea Homecoming.
Nah. I didn't even watch that.
So I know you lot don't watch black shows, man. Look at you. Medea Homecoming. Oh, Tyler Perry. Thank you. That's it. So Tyler Perry, like,
Why are you judging me for, bro?
I'm not judging you.
I don't watch anything, bro.
Anyway,
Shit, bro.
we all know what you watch, but anyway.
Well, what do I watch?
Listen,
go on, what do I watch?
PG.
Huh?
PG.
No, go on, say what
Parental
I watch,
guidance,
bro.
big man. Parental.
Go say it, bro. There's no parental guidance, bro. What do I watch?
Nothing. Back to the
Yeah,
topic.
exactly. That's what I thought, bro. That's what I thought, bro. Get me.
Back to the topic. But yeah, he said something about like some people are only meant to come or think at a time period in your life. Growth is, some people can only hit a certain bit of growth and then they fall off.
Because they stop making a choice.
Because they stop making a choice. They stop doing the developments to grow with you.
Do you think some people could be scared of growth? Like
100%, yeah. Growth is uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, it really is. Like,
growth is uncomfortable.
Do you know what? But that's the thing.
It's
like,
very uncomfortable.
I've had this reflection that all the best things in my life happen me being outside my comfort zone. All of them. Even bro, like even like that thing of like was it Kevin or Xavier that said it? But one of them, I think it was Kevin. Kevin said that he spoke to someone and then the person said to him that all the people that he knows now were once strangers. It's true. It's like at one point, like pretty much apart from obviously my mom and the other relatives are, like every single person was a stranger at one point. And meeting those people, obviously now just meeting people in general is not outside my comfort zone. But when I was younger, like I wasn't that comfortable with meeting people. Like I didn't want to make like new friends or go out there and meet new people. And now I'm comfortable with it. Like I'll talk to people and I'll get to know them. But they were outside my comfort zone. It's, you know, it's like even like, you know, like starting a job or going to like a new gym or I don't know, anything in life can be outside your comfort zone. It just might be a different, you know, spectrum of how uncomfortable it is.
Yeah, I think there's been loads of uncomfortable things for me, but right now, in terms of like that's the most recent, was starting my company. That was bloody uncomfortable. Going in them rooms and these men are talking about tax this, tax that, and then you're talking about this business language. Is like, obviously I learned it in school, but school was just like, yeah, it was always related to something that's not mine. So now that it's actually mine, it's like rotted. Okay, like you think about it differently. Yeah, that was quite uncomfortable, but I love it. I
find yourself like just in times going on Google, just like, what's that one? Just
100%, I've done it. And then, but I have to. I can't just go on Google, get what it means, and think, all right, cool. I've got to go on Google, understand what it means, and say, okay, so what does that mean for me? Do you know where I'm coming from? Where do I fit into that? Yeah. And if I don't fit into that, then at this point in time, that's not necessary for me, and I know what answer I can give from there. Do you know where I'm going from? So
do you know what? I got to the point in life, and I have no shame in saying this, like there's so much I don't know, and I feel like sometimes people get embarrassed about like being in a room and pretending like, a lot of people pretend like they know, like someone might say something or they might even use a word they don't know like what it means, and people will sit in a room pretend like, yeah, they're just nodding their heads, they might not even know it. Bro, I swear to God, bro. I swear to God. They're like, yeah. And it's like people talking about strategies and all of these different things.
That head nod took me out.
Hey, but listen, you know what I started doing? And I would tell people, I don't give a shit, I go on Google, I check the words, I check what other things mean and whatnot, because you know what? I didn't spend like my younger ages, I didn't spend time in learning these things. I was doing other shit. You know what I'm trying to say? I was doing other shit. I was just like going through different life experiences and whatnot. I wasn't learning different stuff. So like, there's no shame in being a certain age and going, you know what? I don't know what that word means. Or like asking people, I start asking people, what does that mean? And sometimes, you know what? It's interesting because sometimes I get a response of, there's other people in the room that didn't know what that meant. They go, oh, that's a great question. Oh, someone's going to explain it now. And sometimes the people that are asked, what does that mean? They didn't know themselves. And I found that so interesting. So like people always are talking about things that they might not even know what they mean themselves. They I just feel like sometimes I feel like we give ourselves this whole level of, I need to be this, I need to be that. And I feel like as you get older, you realize very quickly all of that don't mean nothing. And it's fine to not know. Yeah, I don't know shit. You'd be so surprised. Like I'm reading books of like multi-millionaires and billionaires, and I'm with some of them a couple of days a week, and it's like, the man don't know it all, you know? Yeah. Like, there's elements of this thing we call life that they have no clue about. They have no idea. And do you know what? Do you get me? So everyone's expertise or somewhat an expertise in their own field, take them out of that field, they're just a normal person. Yeah. Do you know where I come from? Yeah. So they have to learn the same way you do. And it's fine to say, hey, I don't get it.
Do you know where I'm coming from? It's like, you know what, I need to do. I'll be so real, starting up. I did not want to go through the hassle of setting up my company. I said to my accountant, big man, yeah, run that. And he was like, no. I said, raw. He's like, I'm not just gonna run that. So you know, it's because I'm not used to a lot of people telling me no. Do you know where I'm coming from? Yeah. So the only people that really tell me no, and I'm gonna say this, is like my mom, family members, or some of my boys. Even when some of my boys told me, I'm like, big man, what do you mean no? Kind of thing. They're like, no, fam. I'm like, all right, say no more, say no more. I'll find a way to coerce it. Do you get where I'm coming from? But obviously, when I've got like a lot of like my colleagues and they're telling me no, sometimes I just want to, you get me about no. But it's like, he said no, and he was like, no, look into it. Because it's like, should anything happen and you don't understand it, I was like, you know, he's got a point. Yeah. And I ended up doing it with him, and he was like, was that so hard? And I was like, I wanted to, sometimes it's like, obviously we got that relationship where it's like, was that so, I was thinking, big man, I'll punch you in your face. But it's like, was that so hard? And it was like, and I said, you know what, fair enough, I hear it and I respect it. I respect that you told me no and you told me to go and do that. But now that I've gone and done that, anything else that I need to ask him or anything that I need to understand, I'll go and do it first before asking, because sometimes the answers is there. But I was just too lazy to think. I'm thinking, well, that's your job kind of thing. It was like, yeah, that is your job, but doesn't mean I can't still understand it.
Do you know what I realized? Everything's a matter of steps. Like anything you want to achieve or understand or build, it's just a matter of steps. Like literally, it's brick by brick. Like, I don't know, like you said, starting a company, it's like understanding how taxes work, how something else works. And all that information is available. And I think that's what, if we live in such a amazing age where like someone can go on Google and research everything you want to know about. Literally. Like if someone's got like a case going on or like drink driving and that, they can just go on Google and research it. Why are you laughing for, bro? They can just go research and see what the potential outcomes are. But anyway, by the way, on a side note, yeah, did you know that there's 16 genders? Did you know that there's 16 genders on a side note? Yeah.
I love how you threw that one.
Even like, do you know what it is? Even like...
No, shut up.
Listen, even doing research on scooters, bro. Like, let's say you're sitting in a car and you want to... Listen.
Hey, big man, if I'll be real, if you want this podcast to continue without
any news... Bro. It's continuing, bro. No, but listen. No, but listen. Let me say one more thing on that, yeah.
Don't mention a car.
No, it's not. It's not a car.
You know exactly what you're doing.
Listen, it's not even a car thing. Yeah, it's like even like for example, if you want to make a transition into more eco-friendly environment and you want to come and you want to emit less emissions, like you go and research what kind of scooter you want to use. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Anyway, on a side note, did you know there's 16 genders?
Swear that.
There might be more, but listen, the last one fascinates me the most. Yeah, there's one called Two-Spirit. What's a Two-Spirit? Yeah, there's a gender called Two-Spirit. This term is used by some indigenous communities to refer to someone who identifies as having a third gender, encompassing both a masculine and feminine spirit or essence. You just adding that. I don't even know, bro. Listen, it's crazy. So there's wait, hold on. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna run through it. This is a commercial break, by the way.
What is we have commercial break?
Anatomical sex? No, I'm joking. Cisgender, transgender.
I was going to say, but I can run toilet.
Cis. I don't even know, bro. This is crazy. Non-binary, we know that one. Intersex, genderqueer, gender fluid, gender non-conforming. I think I heard about that one as well. Gender expansive. Anyway, agender. There's gender void, bigender, omnigender, pangender, and Two-Spirit. The Two-Spirit one killed me still. But anyway, moving on. Last thing we need to touch on is the power of networking and managing relationships. You know what, yeah? I'm not going to lie to you. I've got a question for you on that one, but this is not something that I do. It's not... I can do this really well, like the networking side of things and all of that stuff.
Can you?
I swear to God I can, yeah. I choose not to. I'm not out there like that.
But everyone thinks networking is being out there. It's not.
No. It's not just out there. It's obviously there's maintenance of relationships and you know what it is? I think sometimes it's more about maintaining the current networks that someone's built and just having it ongoing. You know what? You talk about it because I don't know.
No, go on. What were you going to ask or were you going to say? Finished.
No, it's cool. You talk.
No. Go on.
No, my question was like something different. My question is like, because obviously you said you want to talk about managing relationships. I wanted to ask, do relationships need to be managed? Which is quite a philosophical question.
Do relationships need to be managed? I think, regardless of how we see it, all relationships are managed.
Managed by who?
Managed by both parties. If one party doesn't manage it or manage their half correctly, it affects the other.
So are they managing or are they building? That's what I'm trying to get to. Like,
so you get to a stage where you're building, and then you end up, in a way you're managing it, because it's, when you have a conversation, yes, it's a part of building, but it's like, okay, I don't like this, or this needs to be done this way for me in order for this to happen. That's a form of management.
But that's the thing. So can you manage something you can't control? Because like the way I look at it, it's like, how can I manage a relationship that I can't control? So for instance,
you can manage many relationships that you can't control. Like, why do you think people get relationship counselors? That counselor is managing that couple's relationship. He's not controlling the relationship. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
So
I get that,
there's ways you can manage different things that you can't control. But when I speak of managing relationships, I speak of in terms of like, if you've built a good relationship, managing that relationship in terms is developing and understanding, all right, cool, at what point of time could I do anything, or could this person do anything where this could go wrong? And how do I, if not prevent, but when that comes, how do we resolve this? It goes back to how about conflict resolution, but it's like sometimes this is one thing I always take from my mum. As much as I didn't listen to it, it's always going to stick with me. Prevention is better than cure. You know where I'm coming from? So how can I do that and be one step ahead? And it's like, sometimes you don't have to just be one step ahead. It's just about understanding, you know what, these are your boundaries, and I know I can't cross that. I have to, in order for me to get to that state, I've got to manage these relationships where like, how I know what those your boundaries are. You try, you build, you understand, and you end up managing that relationship. And a lot of stuff in terms of like, and it's weird to say, certain jobs, certain corporate jobs and or fundraising jobs, a lot of it is managing relationships. It's a lot of tickling egos and stuff like that. But the real ones, in terms of like where you decide that it's all about just a check-in of like, hey, how you doing? And sometimes, that's why I go back to what I first mentioned earlier about being genuine, because sometimes when you're just genuine with it and that's how you naturally are, it's not looked at as managing a relationship. It's looked at, hey, how you doing? You're just checking in, how you doing, stuff. And that's what helps get you in terms of in certain places and certain positions. But networking, like, reason why I want to talk about networking is because I've got to a lot of where I am because of networking. And don't get me wrong, I'm quite different in terms of like, everyone's always like say to me, I got the gift of the gab. Yeah, so I can adapt how I speak in any environment. So when I'm with a man them, yo, my doggy, you get me? I could do that. When I'm in the office, how we doing? Yes, sure, I've checked that calendar invite. Yeah, I'll put that in the diary. When I'm around, I can switch it up.
Code switching, I
can switch it up, and it can switch it up. But everyone feels like, but that's not you being you. No, that's all me. Every bit of that just happened is all me. Whilst I was talking to the man, then my ear didn't get bigger, my nose didn't get longer. Do you get what I mean? I didn't shape shift or anything to where I became something different. It's all me.
You can just speak someone's language.
You could just understand that's where I'm coming from. So, but networking, everyone feels like you got to be able to talk. No, you haven't got to be able to talk. You've got to be able to get yourself in a position where all you have to do is introduce yourself. It's like the basic conversation you have with people is networking.
Do you know what though? I think you're missing one point, and I want to big you up on it as well. I think there's also a level of energy. Like, people have different energy and different sort of mindset towards meeting people. So if someone's energy is off anyways and whatever, they're not going to be networking efficiently anyways. So it's like, if the foundation is not correct, and I think you're someone, you definitely got like, your energy is really good. Like, people want to be around you. That's why networking becomes easier. So I think it's just that, the level of like, if people get to the point where the energy is correct and they've got a good mindset, the body language is nice and all of that stuff, then it's going to become easier anyways in the first place. Yeah,
there definitely is that element in regards to energy, because I feel sometimes I've been in like a few situations where the energy in the room has just been off, but just being in that room and speaking with one person changes. It gives you a network that you would not have. Do you know where I'm coming from? A lot of networking is going to things we wouldn't normally go to. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, I remember being outside your comfort zone is how you network, because put it this way, if you go to a room filled with just Hispanics, and you're the only black person, someone's gonna come and chat to you. And then whether they've got their preconception, their prejudgment thing, once they come and chat to you and they understand, they realize, oh, raw, my judgment or my preconception was wrong. That's a network you never had.
Yeah.
But you would not have had that network if you decided, oh, raw, this is a Hispanic event. I'm going to be the only black person. And you didn't step into that room. Do you know where I'm coming from? If you weren't meant to be in that room, you wouldn't have been in that room.
That kind of goes back full circle towards the what we spoke about earlier, the victim mentality.
Do you know where I'm coming from? If you weren't meant to be in that room, you would not have meant to be in that room.
Because one person could have been in there, could have been like, oh, there's no black people in there, so I'm not going to be there. And yeah.
Do you know where I'm coming from? And it just goes back to like jumping out of your comfort zone. But like when it comes to networking, I always feel like networking isn't just, hey, how this, or I'm meeting this person, I'm meeting that person. Networking is also putting people together. Yeah, if I've got someone that does this, it's like, you know what, let me introduce you to Thing. Yeah, you introduce this person to that person. They both do whatever sort they need to do, but they're going to remember that this introduction or this network came from you.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm coming from? Yeah, and you build and build and build that network to the point where you have a network of people where it's like, you know what, everybody, sometimes it doesn't have to be a thing where it's like, oh, I'm getting something from everybody, but everybody within my network can help me, and they don't always have to help me, but can help somebody.
They can also benefit from something, you know.
Can also
if you
benefit
start a
from something.
tomorrow,
Coming from,
and then you go, I can call this person and be like, hey, like I've got this thing going on. Do you want to get involved? You get this from there, whatever. You come together.
Like, do you know where I'm coming from? So, like, Biz, he always says this thing, and I don't know if he got it from me or he got it from a book. Yeah, but I did say to him, like, if you're gonna do businesses, yeah, like a lot of businesses nowadays, they're not done alone. Yeah, you have the face of the business, but there's a lot of people behind those doors. So businesses are not done alone. And I always say, so get out. If we know the truth that businesses aren't done alone and there's a lot of faces, why is it when you want to start up a business, you want to do it alone? Yeah? No, don't do that. Follow the same mindset of businesses aren't done alone and get in as many people as you can to help you. Do you know where I'm coming from?
Everyone's got different strengths.
Everyone's got different strengths. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, collaborating is important. Understanding, getting different perspectives. Like when I'm looking at certain logos or we're doing certain thing, I look at the logo and I'm like, big man, what's that? And in my head, it's like, okay, so what is this brand about? What is this thing? But my network allows me to then say, you know what? Who done this? Okay, I've got someone. If with your permission, I'll introduce you to an email, send it to a graphic designer that I know that does it with some big boy brands. See what she has to say. Yeah. Now that's a network where you can think, however you decide, whatever she's, you can turn around and be like, you know what, hey, Kenny sent this, or I can restructure this, or I think whoever done it told them to do this, because there's going to be a lot of terminology, whether it's on Illustrator, whatever platform that logo has been created that you have no idea, but you're paying someone else to do it. Yeah, but there's someone that's an expert in that field. She may come back to you and say to you, look, I'm going to do this and this, or she may tell you, this is what you need to do, but this is what you need to tell your graphic designer, because he would understand this level, he will understand this coding, he will understand this thing. You would not have had that. Do you get where I'm coming from? And that's how it is about collaborating and networking. And then we got the whole saying of your network is your net worth. There's an element of that is very, very much true, because someone's net worth isn't big because of one thing. Everyone think, okay, one person's net worth is big, like because of like, oh yeah, like thing. No, that may be, if we know how tax works, that may be the only thing that they declare. But big man, they're into other pies. Do you know where I'm coming from? They're into so many different pies of this, that, invested in there, invested in that, Hence why they have that net worth. Hence why your network should be this, and that. Yeah. Do you get where I'm coming from? Yeah. That's why I say the power of networking is very, very important. It puts you in places and gives you opportunities that you would not necessarily have foreseen yourself. Okay, now where the beauty about that is, if you're an individual that can capitalize on that can say, you know what, how can I turn this? Because sometimes you be in situations like, this is dead, but how can I...
it takes like a level of creativity to think.
How can I switch this to in a way where it's like, okay, what can I take from this that's going to help towards the goal I'm heading to, or towards the goal that I'm trying to achieve? That's the beauty of it. And a lot of the time you can be very upfront with that in terms of your networks and in terms of how you do stuff. Like literally, like some of the like the stuff we done years ago, like you taking me to Lifebeat, I was able to create a network with someone that years ago during lockdown, I was able to hit up my girl, like, oh, look, I want to do this, I want to do that. And she was like, yeah, but I wouldn't have got that network if I didn't go. Now that network is growing into this and growing into that. And obviously, we know the networks of people that I do have. We can't say the names, them, you get me? But like that network, that one person alone has introduced me to some guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at these man like, yo, that they pull up and stuff. I'm thinking, huh? Yeah. And on a normal day, I'll look at this man like, big man, what are you doing? Like, in my head, I'm just thinking, allow it, man. But then Donnie will come and tell me I said, what? And that network and this thing, and the beauty about it is like, I think everyone has like, you know, like rich people, yeah, they have a beauty, they have a network in abundance, yeah? They have a network in abundance. But what everyone forgets is some people, yeah, they've got old money. Yeah, so there's generational wealth. They've been born into it. A lot of new money, I was like, okay, yeah, you want to talk about old money? All right, cool. That's old money. But let's talk new money. Yeah. A lot of new money, they don't have that generational wealth. This is why, hence why it's new money. But for them to have that new money, they have to have a vast network. That didn't come from scratch. That wasn't given to them. They had to go and get that. So if that's what some people want to emulate to and be like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get the bag or thing, which I don't really like that terminology, but I'm trying to build, I'm trying to think, then big man, expect to build your network along the journey, because that is what it will help you get to certain places. Like, do you know where I'm coming from? You can't get into governance or certain stuff without someone feeling like, hence why there's apprenticeships and internships, why it's a step through the door. Once you're in the door, then you can expand. You know where I'm coming from? Because you can get an internship, whether it's on project management, you do a year, 2 years in project management, but you're in that door. You're now able to see what else goes on.
Yeah.
All the different roles. All you knew outside of that network was project management. You've gone in there, you're seeing software, marketing, this, HR, You're thinking, rah, I love a bit of HR. But you would not have known. You got coming from. You would not have known about HR until you got through that door. Do you know where I'm coming from? It's the same way with certain things. You don't know how different things work or operate until you get through that door. But you can't. Some stuff you can't get in there without that network. Someone to say, hey, yeah, you know what? I think this should be, because a network doesn't always have to help you do something. A network can just give you a suggestion.
Yeah, and sometimes you can introduce to someone else that
thing.
Yeah,
because a lot of a good network of people don't always have the answers. I always say, yeah, if you got a network, but if they always say it to you, yeah, I know this, I know that, that's not a good network.
But you know what? If people are not afraid to ask if they know someone else, then most of the time someone knows someone else. Like, it's just
that's what I'm saying.
People know people. That's just how it works.
A good network of people that don't always know the answer.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I remember, like, my first network, I always relied on my man, on one guy, to kind of like, but he turned around to me and said, I'll be real, I have no idea what this is, but I do know someone that does. Yeah. So if you are comfortable, I can introduce you, link you two up, and then he can give you thing, because I could be that guy. He turned around to me and said, I could be that guy and give you something that I think I know, and it's not going to be beneficial to you. And it can then turn around and shatter your dream or shatter your goal. And I don't want to do that. And I said, you know what? I went back, I'm in Baker Street now, and I'm thinking, raw, for a rich guy, you kept it real. Do you know where I'm coming from? I'm thinking, okay. So I'm thinking, all right, you know what? I respect it. And we all have our like perceptions of people, and
I was about to say, your perception sounded like because he's rich, he might chat shit to you.
Yeah, like 100%, bro. You got to understand, like,
that's what Aladdin thinks, anyways.
Like, you got to understand, like, bro, coming from East, yeah. Like, I only saw Baker Street or Mayfair on Monopoly. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, I only saw Baker Street or Mayfair on Monopoly. Like, the only time I had to go to Baker Street, yeah, was when I was going college up in West. So I had to get there to catch the Hammersmith and City line to take me up West.
It wasn't even really there. It was just.
But you're coming from, I'm just passing through. But it was only like, what, 3-4 years ago where I was actively getting off at Baker Street and walking around this place. I was thinking, mad thing. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking, raw. I thought the biggest place we had was Stratford. I swear to you. Or Canary Wharf. I swear to you. I thought, you know what, Canary Wharf is, yeah, that's top tier. I get to Baker Street and hearing some of the stuff like thinking, huh? I said, rah, you get to Mayfair now, you're thinking, yeah, big man. Then you get to Knightsbridge, Paul Moore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm coming from? And then you're just like, hold on a minute. Let's not even talk about what's that place. Is it Fitzrovia? Anyways,
What's
but
it called?
Yeah, I think it's called Fitzrovia. Or Little Venice, bro, bare little place, bro. I'm telling you, all these places. I'm thinking, raw. What line is this? What Bakerloo? I'm thinking, swear dad. All I knew was DLR and Jubilee. That was it. Do you know where I'm coming from? So you like your network introduces you to different experiences, and those experiences, like, it allows you to decide what do you really want. And I got to the stage where I said, you know what? I don't want to be up like that, because that's a bit, you man look stressed kind of thing. But I want to take you lot's mentality and how you lot deal with your business mindset, your business this, and how that can help and that thing. And bruv, over the last 3 years, like, I'm doing my thing now. It's doing well. Like, I'm in and out of Mayfair, having hella meetings. Like, I swear to God, like, when I first got to Mayfair, I didn't know where I was going. Like, bare places, bare little corners. You get to one corner, you got one security guard saying, big man, you can't get here. Some diplomatic entrance. I'm thinking, what? Like, they send me all the way around. So many different experiences that have happened to me in the last 3 years, Now I go to Mayfair, I know where I'm going. Yeah, I'm coming from. I know how to get from St. James's Place to Berkeley Street up to this place, bruv. Do you know where I'm coming from?
It's local now.
I want to say I'm local, but
Nah, you're local. I
want to say I'm local, but yeah, like,
you're local,
networking is a beautiful thing. I'll be real. It's a beautiful thing.
Nah, it is. Before we start checking out, I want to touch on one more thing. And I never understood. You know what? I should have spoken about this with you in person, anyways. But you used to do philosophy, innit? Or you done philosophy? Yeah,
I studied philosophy and ethics. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting about you? I feel like you're a secret philosopher. I feel like you're a philosopher at heart, but it's not something that you might necessarily like share with people. But I can tell by the way, like, even the speech that you done that last time, like, I can tell that you got philosophy, or like you look at life in a philosophical way.
Yeah, I mean, there's elements of it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that, just see, like, how come you stopped? How come you didn't want to carry on? You know what, that's me assuming that you stopped. Maybe you didn't. I don't know.
So, I mean, I didn't stop. In terms of, like, philosophy itself, I didn't stop. I've always, like, do you know what? I don't know. So, my introduction to philosophy was weird, because I remember I was in year 9 and you're doing your options, and I just saw philosophy and ethics. And then the teacher, that it was weird, because she was the deputy head teacher. I think she was the deputy head teacher, and we used to call her Spider-Man, innit? Now, the big man we used to call her Spider-Man. For guys that went Cumberland will know what I'm on about, because basically these two things, I think it was either these two or one of them were gone, innit? So every time man, they were like, but anyways, but like, bless her, she was cool, but she was so, if you were in her wrong books, man, long day for you. But stop that, man.
Bro, I'm not even, listen, I'm trying to be sensitive here.
But and then, so she sold it to me in terms of, like, you get to debate. And knowing me back then, I loved the little argument. I loved it. I could live for it. If you could send me to school to argue every lesson, I'm there for it. As long as I get a little grub and a little energy refill, I'm good. I'm there for it. So once she told me, there's loads of debates, I was there. And boy, she did not disappoint. I got to philosophy and ethics now, and it was literally talking about, is abortion, I'm thinking, I'm in year 9, they're talking about, is abortion good? I'm thinking, huh?
Is that philosophy though?
So that's how they introduced it to us, Okay. Then we started going into the whole philosophical elements of it, and then the ethics around it, and why you should do it, and all of that stuff. So a lot of it in GCSE, a lot of it was more ethics and more religious ethics thing. When I got to college now, that's when the philosophy started going in terms of, like, how you look at life. Where does this happen? Why does this happen? Is there a reason behind it? Sometimes there's not. It went deep. You get me?
Do you think so? And I think this is what I was trying to get to, and I'm not trying to answer it for you, but that's the sense I get from you. Do you think that philosophy, or learning or studying philosophy, has had a major impact in how you look at life in general, and the values added to you when you deal with life situations, or when you try to understand life in total?
I think I'm not too sure. Sometimes I think sometimes I think nah, maybe my childhood is more like the character building and stuff that I've gone through. But sometimes I do think, like, because sometimes there's different situations that I'm in, and sometimes a philosophical kind of quote comes up, and it's like, you know what, this isn't by choice, but this is it has its days. But
that's the thing. Philosophy isn't just a philosophical quote, right? It's a bit, not even a bit. It's way more than that. It's how we navigate life, or how we understand life situations as well.
Yeah,
and it gives I think philosophy can open up multiple different perspectives that a day-to-day understanding of life might.
It opens up a whole different dimension in terms of how you view things. Definitely, because I remember sometimes you'd view things a certain way, and in philosophy and ethics, your viewpoint is challenged. Like you can't. If you someone that doesn't like your viewpoint to be challenged, don't do philosophy and ethics, because you will be challenged. And I thought, no one's gonna chat shit to me, because I'm bro. Everyone was like, nah, because they had a protection of school. They're like, once we're in this room, you can't do nothing. I said, say no more. Once we get out. but if your viewpoint is definitely challenged. But it definitely does have a part to play in terms of that. But do you know what? There's a lot of things about me that I don't always talk about. Like, I'm a low key nerd. Like, do you know where I'm coming from? Like, no one knows that, because it's not, everyone just sees Kenya.
But being a nerd is a cool thing.
Everyone sees Zino. I would never.
But you know what it is? The definition of being. Do you know what the definition is?
What, of a nerd?
I'll read it. Yeah, I'll read it out properly.
I've never known.
That's the thing. I'll read out the definition, but before I read it out, in simple terms, it's just someone that's really into something. That's what a nerd is.
Yeah. But like, I'm a low key nerd in like different stuff, and like, if I like something, boy, I'm gonna go in at it. I'm gonna be really into it, and I'm gonna try and figure out all the different ways around it.
So that's the definition of a nerd. So a person who is extremely enthusiastic and knowledgeable about a particular subject, especially one of a specialist or niche interest. That's all it is.
Yeah. So
then people class nerd as a bad thing. It's just when you break it down.
Do you know what it is? It's not always a bad thing. It's just sometimes I think you understand. It's like coming from movies and like
police officers are nerds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Police officers are nerds.
In their field, yeah.
100%. Yeah, they're a bunch of nerds.
I wouldn't say they're a bunch of nerds. Not every police officer's a nerd.
But like they're into like law and
not really. Not all of them are into law. Some police.
They're not nerds.
Not all police officers are nerds. Some police officers are there for a job.
I thought they were a bunch of nerds, innit?
No. You're not gonna get me to say that. Hell no. Nah. Before I get
Before you get cancelled.
No, not even before I get cancelled. Before I get one person's like, raw, I know one constable that I'm gonna snitch. I'm like, get out of here, man.
Police are nerds though. They're super into. You know what? I'm gonna start calling.
Though. You can't. Not all of them.
No, I'm gonna start.
Some people are there for a job.
Do you know what I'm gonna start doing, bro?
So is every sales assistant a nerd?
Listen, I'm gonna start calling everyone a nerd, and I'll tell them what they're into.
Fair enough.
And what knowledge they have on a particular subject.
I mean, you can do that, but man, that's there's bare different stuff about.
I'd be like, hi to meet you. I'm a nerd. It's been a long day. For those who don't know, we're shooting this episode at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I'm just playing.
Man said hi to meet you, and I was the one that's tired coming in here.
Shit, man. Anyway, it's been a long day. Alright, on that note, I'm a nerd. Let's start wrapping it up.
Yeah, I don't know how you want to check it out. Or
That's I'm gonna do that now. So before we ask you the final question, is there anything you want to promote? So there's two elements to this. Yeah, is there anything you want to promote? So something that belongs to you. Yeah. Can be a show or a business or a service, whatever it is. And then the second one is something that doesn't necessarily belong to you. So it could be a book, could be a movie, could be a person, could be anything, literally.
Let me think about that one. Something that belongs to me. I mean, I can't really promote my business, but yeah.
If there's nothing he does in school, like
yeah. Look,
are you actively PTing? Do you want to promote your?
Nah, I'll be real now. Yeah, I'm fully booked. What I can say, not promote, but just say, hey, that stuff, watch this space, all of that. But no, I got some good stuff, YouTube stuff coming up. Real good, man. Real good. I'm excited.
Coming up real good. So who's fresh now? Coming up real good. Hi to meet you. I had to meet you coming up real good.
I got some stuff that's coming up, and it's gonna be real good. Waste, man. But yeah, and something that doesn't belong to me. You know what? I think to a lot of my athletes out here, boxers, I'm gonna promote. Same guy, but Paul. Back to basics. Anyone that needs cryotherapy, and I know I've taken a lot of athletes up there and helped them out in terms of like getting them some recovery stuff. But he's recently just opened up his spa in Hilton Bankside. It's called Etch Spa. It's in the actual Hilton.
That's lit, you know. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, in Hilton Bankside. So guys, you know what month it is next month. You get me?
If you need some crying therapy.
If you must say crying therapy.
Oh, sorry, is that another one?
Yeah, if we are, you know what month it is next month. Etch Spa, Hilton Bankside. Take your missus, your man them, whoever, but go check it out. Go check it out. Go to Etch Spa, Hilton Bankside. I think they're currently doing a deal right now as well. So I even need to go there myself and support, because yeah, man, I was there through the whole, like when he told me about the idea. So yeah, promote that. Etch Spa, Hilton Bankside, guys, go check it out.
That's big, man. That's super big. When you get a chance to say something to 8 billion people, which is the whole world's population, obviously, Aladdin, what would you tell them?
When I get a chance, ooh.
So yeah, when you get a chance to say something to 8 billion people, which is the whole world currently, what would you tell them? What are you going to tell them, actually?
What am I going to tell them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can suck your mother.
Yo, all right, on that note.
No, I'm joking. Bro, you man can't take a joke. No, I'm joking. I've been wanting to say that from this TikTok. Got onto one. Anyways, I'll explain that after. But now, what would I say to people? I think don't overcomplicate things. A lot of the answers are right in front of us. And I think the biggest deception or the biggest lie we've all been told is that it's not that easy. It really is. So yeah, that's what I'd say to 8 billion people.
I love that. The answers are in front of us, or within us. But yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
That's it. All right.
Please.